killer, boy. Hey, man, I don't really like you niggas ain't dead, man, cause we ain't free, man. I been chasing niggas, dragging niggas, facing niggas, man. I know I ain't. Team sped my shit back, brr, gang.
Picture this. You're rolling through Memphis, chilling in your red whip, music blasting, minding your own business. Then out of nowhere, shots start tearing through your windows. You get hit, paralyzed for life, all cause some fool mistook you for the ops. That's exactly what went down when an innocent man crossed paths with Lil Hank Pooh, Ty's most loyal soldier and the definition of a crash dummy. This dude sprayed the wrong car, left the man paralyzed, then wrecked his own ride trying to escape like it was some low-budget action movie gone wrong. But here's where it gets wild. Even after getting slapped with an 18-year sentence, this man's still talking like he runs the streets, claiming the only reason his rival's still breathing is because he's behind bars. That's some bold talk. And by the end of this story, you'll see exactly why Pooh Shiesty keeps shouting out Lil Hank in almost every track he drops. The connection between these two is deeper than rap. It's blood, loyalty, and chaos all mixed together. Now let's get real. Lil Hank ain't just some random street dude. This man's name been ringing through Memphis for years, ever since he started repping for Chopper Gang. When I say putting in work, I'm talking about the kind that earned you an 18-year bid behind steel doors. But before we get into how that all went down, you gotta see how loyal Hank really was to his people. Back in the day, Hank and Pooh were locked in tight, running through South Memphis like it was their playground. We're talking about the Cane Creek apartments, where survival meant you either stood tall or got stepped on. These dudes weren't out there playing games. They were living like every move could be their last. It's wild how deep this story runs. From day one, Lil Hank was moving on straight gangster timing. No hesitation, no fear. The stats back it up too. Pooh Shiesty went from a Memphis local to pulling in 18 million views off just one beef. And guess who was right there in the mix making sure the crew stayed safe? Lil Hank. Word on the street says this man earned his stripes early, while other dudes his age were still worried about high school drama and chasing dates. Hank was already proving he'd ride for his team without even thinking twice. That's the kind of blind loyalty that built Chopper Gang from the ground up. But before we go deeper into Hank's wild journey, you gotta understand something. Memphis street life ain't like anywhere else. This city's got a crazy mix of southern charm and pure danger that shapes some of the most loyal and most feared crews in the country. We're talking about a city where your chances of making it to 30 can depend on the block you grew up on. In South Memphis, where Chopper Gang came up, it's survival of the sharpest. You got families sleeping on the floor just to dodge straight bullets, and young hustlers walking around with heavy artillery like it's part of their outfit. That kind of world breeds a mentality where you either stand on business or you get stepped on. No middle ground. Lil Hank grew up in that chaos, where showing a little weakness could get you wiped out, but proving your loyalty could lift your status instantly. That's the kind of code these Memphis crews live by, and the structure out there is different. Yeah, you got national sets like the Crips and Bloods, but you also got smaller hybrid squads with their own rules, their own codes, and no big boss above them. That's exactly where Chopper Gang fit in. They were unpredictable, wild, and not tied to anyone's politics. That made them dangerous in a whole new way. Now here's where things get even more interesting. This crew didn't just appear overnight. Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, Lil Hank, and a few other solid names from all over Memphis decided to link up and chase the bag by any means necessary. This was back in the mid-2000s, when Memphis was raw, gritty, and unfiltered. You couldn't fake your reputation. You had to earn it every single day. Pooh Shiesty naturally rose to the top as the front man of the movement. He had the vision, the energy, and most importantly, the respect. Plus, his pops was already a legend in Memphis streets, running Mob Ties Records and dealing with his own share of legal smoke. That family legacy, it only made the crew's rise even more powerful. That family legacy gave Pooh instant respect in the streets, but it also put a massive target on his back. When you're climbing that fast, you need enforcers watching your every move, and that's exactly where Lil Hank came through like a real one. While Pooh was out handling the music grind and locking in business deals, Hank was in the field, making sure nobody dared to test Chopper Gang's reputation.
The setup was clean but effective.
Pooh at the top calling all the plays, and the rest of the crew, including Hank, Big 30, and a few other hitters, following through on whatever needed to be done. What made Hank different was his fearlessness. While some dudes might pause or look for a safer route, Hank was always ready to step up first, no hesitation. If something needed handling, he was the one walking through the door before anyone else even thought about it. That kind of energy earned him the unofficial title of Pooh's main shooter. But with that badge of honor came serious weight, respect on the block, yeah, but also the constant pressure of knowing he was the one expected to move when things got hot. By 2018 and 2019, when PT was finally getting industry recognition, Hank was still out in the streets holding down the name, making sure Pooh could focus on music instead of ducking drama. That balance worked like a well-oiled machine. Pooh stayed front and center as the face of the brand, while Hank took care of the dirty business behind the curtain. Those early days of Chopper Gang were all about claiming territory and making their name ring loud across Memphis. And in a city that small, where everyone knows everyone, word spreads quick about who's really putting in work and who's just pretending. Hank made sure Chopper Gang was known as the real deal. According to Street Talk, he was tied to a handful of serious moves that gave the crew instant credibility. Robberies, street disputes, and situations that never hit the headlines but kept their name echoing across the city. Hank wasn't just protecting a friend, he was building a legend, one move at a time. Out in the streets, these stories turned into straight-up legends. Hank's name started ringing heavy through Memphis. Whispers, rumors, and respect all mixed together. One moment everyone still talks about to this day involved a rival crew trying to plant their flag inside Chopper Gang territory. Instead of talking tough or sending warnings, Hank allegedly stepped up and handled it directly. That one move sent a loud message. This was Chopper Gang's block, and anyone trying to test that was signing up for serious consequences. During this stretch, Hank's role became more critical than ever. While Pooh was out in Atlanta and Los Angeles working studio sessions and locking in features, Hank was back home keeping the empire safe. The streets might respect success, but they also test it. Hank became the living insurance policy, making sure nobody took advantage of Pooh's time away. Every move he made reminded people that Chopper Gang was still active, still solid, and not to be crossed. When PTE started blowing up, dropping bangers with Lil Durk and other big names, Hank was still deep in the grind, doing what couldn't be posted or talked about online. It created this wild dynamic, Pooh turning into a national name while his most trusted enforcers stayed in the shadows, protecting the legacy from behind the scenes. That loyalty wasn't one-sided either. Even as Pooh's fame exploded, he never stopped giving credit to the one who held it down back home. That's why Hank's name keeps popping up in so many songs. It wasn't just a friendly shout-out, it was real acknowledgement. It was Pooh showing love to the man who made sure everything stayed together when the spotlight hit. But with more fame came more eyes, and not all of them were friendly. As Chopper Gang's profile grew, so did the pressure from local police and federal agents watching every move. Hank was already living on the edge, and now the spotlight made his world even riskier. And here's where things start getting spicy. Memphis has always had that North versus South divide simmering beneath the surface. With Chopper Gang repping the South, that automatically put them at odds with crews from the North side. Their biggest opposition? EBG, everybody gangster. These dudes weren't just talking tough, they were ready for smoke. So when Pooh Shiesty dropped that Back in Blood verse with Lil Durk, it didn't just make waves in the industry, it ignited the streets. He wasn't just rapping for clout, Pooh was talking about a real situation. That Back in Blood verse wasn't some clever wordplay, it was a direct call out. When he said, "Yeah, you know who took that from you? Come get it back in blood," he was straight up referring to a lick where Chopper Gang stormed into EBG territory and walked out with serious firepower. And leading that charge, none other than Lil Hank himself. This wasn't some random hit, it was a calculated power move. They wanted to send a message loud and clear. Chopper Gang could touch anybody, anywhere, at any time. The goal wasn't just to take weapons, it was to crush EBG's confidence and flip the power balance in Memphis. The move hit hard, both physically and mentally, and the streets felt that impact instantly. But EBG wasn't about to stay quiet. They fired back with their own Back in Blood remix,
basically throwing gas on the flames and declaring open war. They even started wearing shirts that said CGK, meaning Chopper Gang Killer. The disrespect was loud, and Hank wasn't about to let that slide. According to several people in Memphis, he was pushing heavy for retaliation, ready to prove the Chopper Gang wasn't just about catchy hooks, they were built for the smoke.
And that's what made things spiral. See, EBG wasn't their only enemy. Memphis street life is layered with old grudges, neighborhood rivalries, and crews who switch sides overnight. The city's gang politics run deep, with alliances and beefs overlapping like a tangled web. Hank found himself right in the middle of it all, taking on every threat that popped up. Every time Pooh had an issue, Hank made it his personal mission to handle it. That loyalty made him respected, but it also kept him living on edge. Being the main shooter for a crew that was building fame and enemies at the same speed, that's pressure most people couldn't handle. Hank was constantly on high alert, reacting to every whisper, every challenge, even rumors that turned out to be nothing. But in Memphis, disrespect ain't just talk, it demands a response. And Hank was the one delivering those answers every single time. It didn't matter if the situation made it into a song or not. Hank was always in motion, always making sure the Chopper Gang name stayed feared. The smaller crews and local beefs that never hit social media, they were just as deadly. And Hank was always in the mix, representing hard for his people. But that non-stop loyalty came with a heavy price. By 2020, the tension in Memphis had hit a boiling point. Every crew was beefing with somebody, and the streets were hotter than ever. The Back in Blood track had exploded nationwide, shining a bright light on the city's underground scene and turning local feuds into viral drama. The attention was good for business, but it also raised the stakes for everyone involved. That's when everything started crashing down for Lil Hank. His name was already buzzing across the city, his loyalty unquestioned. But the same loyalty that built his rep was about to cost him everything. The streets were about to collect on all those promises, and this time, the price was a life sentence. Hank was sliding through the city one night, probably running errands for the gang or checking on some street business, when he spotted a red Infiniti cruising down the block. Now, to really get what went down next, you gotta understand the mindset of someone deep in an active beef. When the tension's that high, every unfamiliar car feels like a setup. Every face you don't recognize looks like danger. That kind of constant pressure twists your mind until paranoia starts feeling like instinct. And that's exactly where everything went wrong. Hank thought he recognized that whip. Same color, same shape as cars he'd seen E members rolling in before. In his mind, this wasn't just a random vehicle. This was the ops sliding through Chopper Gang territory, bold as ever. Without thinking twice, Hank made a split-second decision that would change everything. In that one heated moment, he pulled out and started firing. He truly believed he was defending his crew and sending a message that nobody could slide through their side unchecked. To him, it was just another night proving loyalty, another mission to show he was down for Chopper Gang no matter what. But here's the twist. He had it all wrong. That car wasn't full of rivals. It wasn't the ops at all. It was just a regular man heading home from work, minding his business after a long day. Wrong place, wrong time, and the wrong color car. The man caught multiple bullets and was left paralyzed from the waist down. A hard-working civilian whose only mistake was driving through the wrong block at the wrong moment. His life flipped in seconds. One moment he was just living a normal day, working, providing for his family, and the next, everything changed forever. No gang ties, no street politics, nothing. Just an innocent person caught in the middle of a feud that had nothing to do with him. And what makes this story even more tragic is what Hank did next. Instead of stopping or checking what went down, panic took over. Realizing the gravity of what just happened, he hit the gas, trying to flee the scene before the cops showed up. But fate had other plans. As he sped off, heart racing, he lost control of his car and slammed into a pole with brutal force. The crash was violent. It wrecked his vehicle completely and trapped him inside. Witnesses nearby called the police immediately. When officers arrived, they found Hank still stuck in the mangled car, unable to get out. The evidence was everywhere. Shell casings scattered on the street, eyewitnesses pointing straight to him, and his car matching the description of the shooter's vehicle perfectly. It was a wrap from that moment. That crash didn't just stop his getaway, it sealed his fate.
The police pieced it together fast, connecting him directly to the shooting. With the evidence stacked against him, there was no mystery left to solve. It was an open and shut case. Hank went down for attempted murder, earning an 18-year sentence that wiped out nearly 20 years of his life.
And on the other side of it all, a completely innocent man, paralyzed for life. His world turned upside down because of a mistaken identity. It's the harsh reality of the streets. One wrong call, one bad assumption, and lives get destroyed. Hank was so locked in to proving himself, so eager to put in work, that he didn't even take 2 seconds to make sure he had the right target. And that split-second mistake cost everyone everything. The legal case against Lil Hank was clean-cut, but absolutely devastating. Prosecutors came in with everything they needed: hard physical evidence, multiple eyewitnesses, and a clear motive tied to the non-stop gang beefs tearing up Memphis. Hank's lawyers tried to twist every angle they could, but the truth was stacked too high to fight. There was no way around it. He got caught red-handed, and the streets knew it too. Once the trial started, the full story hit like a gut punch. The details about the victim's injuries were brutal. The man wasn't just paralyzed, he was facing a lifetime of pain, endless medical bills, and years of physical therapy just to adjust to a body that no longer worked the same. His whole family had to rebuild their world from the ground up, turning their home into a space where he could simply survive day to day. That courtroom went silent when they realized how deep the damage ran. When the judge handed down that 18-year sentence, they didn't hold back. The judge called it exactly what it was: a senseless act of violence. No self-defense, no mistaken gang target, just an innocent man who got caught in the crossfire of street paranoia and paid the ultimate price. That hit hard, not just for the victim's family, but for Hank's too. For Hank's people, the sentence felt like a nightmare. They lost a son, a brother, and a friend to a justice system that's got zero patience for gang-related crimes. But even deeper, they had to face the painful truth that Hank's mistake had destroyed another family forever. The ripple effect from that one reckless moment stretched across neighborhoods, homes, and hearts. No one walked away untouched. Now, here's the wild part. You think 18 years behind bars might humble someone, right? Make them look in the mirror, maybe even show some remorse. Not Hank. According to insiders and old social media posts, dude doubled down. Even locked up, he was still talking reckless, like he never left the block. On Instagram, he allegedly claimed the only reason his enemies were still breathing is because he was stuck in a cell. Can you believe that? He really said the ops should be grateful he's locked up, because if he was free, they'd all be gone. That's next level crash dummy thinking right there. No apology for the innocent man, no acknowledgement of the chaos he caused, just the same street energy from behind bars. To Hank, prison wasn't punishment, it was just a pause, like he was waiting for the next round once he got out. That shows how deep this mindset had sunk in. It wasn't about right or wrong anymore. It was about loyalty, pride, and image. The crash dummy mentality had completely taken over his way of thinking. And what's even wilder, that loyalty went both ways. Even though Hank's decision left the man paralyzed and put him behind bars for nearly a decade, Pooh Shiesty still keeps his name alive in the music. Every shout-out, every lyric is not random. It's a message to the streets that Chopper Gang never forgets their soldiers, no matter what went down. It's about keeping Hank's name buzzing, showing the rest of the crew that loyalty gets remembered, even when things go bad. To them, Hank wasn't just a shooter, he was a symbol of ride-or-die loyalty, someone who stood on business even when it cost him everything. But on the other side of that loyalty came real consequences. Law enforcement used Hank's story like a warning sign, pushing for tougher crackdowns on gangs in Memphis. The fact that an innocent man ended up paralyzed gave police and prosecutors the perfect reason to turn the heat up on every crew in the city. For the younger crowd watching from the sidelines, Hank's story hit two ways. It scared some straight, showing how one mistake can ruin lives forever. But for others, twisted by that same street code, it almost became a badge of honor, a
A cautionary tale and a street legend rolled into one. That's the power and the curse of that crash dummy life. Respect and regret always come hand in hand. Some people looked at Hank's 18-year sentence and woke up fast. They saw how ugly the streets could get and realized gang life ain't worth losing everything for. But others, they saw Hank's ride-or-die loyalty to Chopper Gang and twisted it into something admirable, like he was a symbol of how to stand tall when things fall apart. But let's be real, this whole situation exposes the dark side of that crash dummy mentality. Hank was so eager to prove his loyalty and show he'd never fold that he made a decision that wrecked multiple lives in one heartbeat.
That innocent man he shot, he's paralyzed for life, stuck with endless doctor's visits, therapy sessions, and a completely flipped reality. His family now carries the emotional and financial weight of caring for someone who can't walk again. And that's the part the streets never talk about, the victims. The man went from living freely, chasing his own dreams, to needing help with simple everyday things just to survive. The mental and emotional toll of that kind of change is heavy for him and everyone who loves him. And for what? All because of a mistaken identity, a red car that looked too familiar. One quick, careless decision that could have been avoided if Hank had taken even 5 seconds to think before acting. Instead of being Pooh Shiesty's right-hand man, helping Chopper Gang grow bigger and stronger, he's sitting in a cold cell serving nearly 2 decades, watching his crew shine from behind bars. The streets talk about loyalty like it's the ultimate badge of honor. And yeah, loyalty does earn respect, but there's a fine line between being loyal and being reckless. Hank crossed that line hard, and now everybody's paying for it. The victim and his family lost their peace. Hank lost his freedom, and Chopper Gang, they lost one of their most trusted enforcers, all because of one preventable mistake. That's the real truth behind this so-called crash dummy lifestyle. It sounds wild in the songs, it boosts reputations, and it makes rappers look untouchable. But when that energy hits real life, the fallout is permanent. You can't rewind it, you can't fix it. What's left are broken families, broken futures, and pain that doesn't fade away. Hank went from being Pooh Shiesty's most trusted soldier to a living cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when blind loyalty turns into reckless action. The culture that glorifies crash dummies is built on the idea that violence equals respect, that proving yourself through chaos makes you real, but it skips over the truth that every shot fired, every bad call leaves a trail of consequences that don't disappear when the song ends. In the end, Hank's story ain't about fame or fear. It's about how one wrong decision can turn loyalty into a lifetime of regret. This whole story shows what happens when people chase short-term street fame instead of long-term freedom and success. Lil Hank's life is both a symbol of loyalty and a warning about how dangerous that loyalty can get when it's misplaced. This man was ready to risk everything for Chopper Gang, and in the end, that's exactly what he did. While Hank was out in the trenches proving his loyalty, Pooh Shiesty was leveling up fast, signing with Gucci Mane and Atlantic Records, selling over 60,000 his first week, and turning into one of the biggest new names in rap. But as Pooh's empire grew, the man who helped protect that empire lost everything trying to defend it. The irony is wild. One friend building his dream, the other trapped in a nightmare he created himself. At the end of the day, Hank's story proves one thing loud and clear. Being a crash dummy doesn't pay off. You might earn respect in the streets, you might get name dropped in a few songs, but when it all goes bad, you're the one sitting in a cell while everybody else keeps moving forward. The same people you rode for, they'll keep living, making music, making money, while you sit still, replaying that one mistake over and over in your head. The streets won't forget Lil Hank. They'll remember him as one of Memphis's most loyal soldiers, the YN who gave up his freedom for the gang. But the real tragedy? That innocent man in the wheelchair, he'll remember Hank for something completely different. To him, Hank will always be the man who changed his life forever over a case of mistaken identity. That's the true cost of this lifestyle. It's not just about prison time or lost opportunities. It's about lives shattered for no reason at all. The music makes it sound flashy, guns, money, loyalty.
But behind those lyrics are real people living with real consequences. Hank learned that lesson the hard way, and now he's got 18 long years to think about whether that loyalty was ever worth it. So tell me, what do you think about this story? Was Hank's loyalty something to respect or just reckless beyond belief? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this one hits deep. And if you want more raw, unfiltered breakdowns of the stories behind the music, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep this conversation going. Until next time, stay sharp, stay safe, and remember, not all loyalty leads to glory.